Hello all, this is Priya and you're watching Priya in UK. I've been dealing with OET, which is an exam for the nurses to go abroad. In my past few videos, we got an exam called IELTS. So I have no idea with that. So we got Waseem here with us in our video. So we are going to ask about IELTS to him because he's done IELTS to come to UK. So hello Waseem.
Hi Priya, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you for joining with us today.
Pleasure.
Okay, so tell me about IELTS, Waseem, because OET is an exam. I've actually, before coming to OET, I've dealt with IELTS. I've heard about IELTS, but after getting to know about OET, I felt OET is a bit easier than IELTS, so I've done that. So tell me about IELTS.
Well, as you said, IELTS is an international English language testing system, if you know the full form. So um, it is one of the English exams which is accepted globally in most of the countries. Like this is an exam for people whose English language is not the first. So, say for example, academic purposes as well as registration purposes, like for nurses, for doctors, this exam is accepted as an eligible criteria, and it is globally accepted, be it UK, as you know, and some of the other countries are like Australia, New Zealand, so many European countries as well. So most of these countries, they accept IELTS as an exam uh, for the eligible criteria to get into the UK, either for a study purpose or for us. Just for me, it was for the nursing registration, for the NMC registration. So I had to take it and show them that you're capable of practicing nursing in an English-speaking country like UK.
All right. So if you see OET, it is just for the medical professionals like nurses, doctors, and pharmacists, dentists, blah, blah, blah. But what about IELTS?
Yeah, you're right. So OET, as you know, it is occupational English test. So it deals with the particular occupation. Say, for example, if nurses are taking the OET exam, so
Yeah,
the
just
content
for
is
the
yeah,
professionals.
the content is more about the nursing, whereas
Yeah.
whereas IELTS is more of general. So IELTS is a general exam and it doesn't have categories related to the specialization. Like it doesn't have something for nursing. So IELTS is more general exam. It assesses the general ability of the candidate in four sections. Uh,
Okay. So any professionals can apply for IELTS, isn't it?
yes, anybody can apply for IELTS. As I said earlier, international students, those who come to the UK, to other countries, they have to take IELTS, as well as our nursing or the medical candidates applying for the registration.
Okay. If you take off OET, we do have a grades like in alphabets like A, B, C plus C till E. It has got the grades. So in case of IELTS, how do the candidates will be graded, or the scores like the passing thing?
Yeah, well, it is kind of similar if you look uh, how the grades are divided, but both the grades are different in the way they are interpreted. So with IELTS, the minimum band is 0 and the maximum band you can achieve is band 9. So if we come from the top, the band 9 is for the expert users. So if you achieve band 9, you are an expert user. And if you
Okay.
achieve band 8, it is called as a very good user. And 7 is for a good user, 6 is for competent user. So you come down to 9 to 0, where band 0 is you haven't taken the exam at all. So the bands are differentiated in this way. And also one more thing I would like to mention, uh, with IELTS, there are 4 modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking, similar
Yes.
to OET, similar to the OET. So just like the OET, even in here, they have marks for specific modules. So listening has grades, reading, writing, and speaking. So overall, the grades are calculated, and an average band is given to the candidate at the end. Say, for example, if I take all the 4 modules and uh, I take 6.5, 7, 8 in 4 categories, then the average comes around 7, for example. So I'll be getting a band score of 7. So also I'd like to mention, because our video is focusing more on the nurses, isn't it? So with
Yes.
according to the NMC, the accepted band scores, as you know, is overall band 7, and you can have 6.5 in writing, but you must achieve band 7 in listening, reading, and speaking. So
Oh, well.
yeah,
So in OET, C plus is the like basic grade which we need to attain in writing. So
yeah.
as like C plus, it is 6.5, isn't it?
Yes, similar. So what they've done is they have decreased the scores for writing. Writing has been a bit of challenging for most of them. So I think that's where they have come down on the scores, both in OET as well as in the IELTS, as you mentioned, C plus.
Because like one or 2 years before, it was like we need to get B grade in writing as well for a UK, but now they have reduced it to C plus.
Yes,
So
yes, exactly.
yeah, okay, all right. So as we are a nurse, what I felt is like instead of going to the general content, I felt much more easier than if in the OET we do have a medical related contents. So all the contents will be like something related to disease condition or something related to medicine. So I felt it is bit easier. You did IELTS, which has a general content. So how you felt? Was it easier or? Because what I feel is quite difficult, because instead of dealing with all the general content, it's a bit easier to do with a profession where we are familiar with, isn't it? So how do you felt? You
Yeah,
cleared
to be
IELTS, so how do
yeah,
you felt with that?
to be honest, when I was preparing for the IELTS, the OET was just coming into the frame. The NMC was not accepting OET at that time. So only by the time I did IELTS, I think it was end of 2017, where OET started, becoming popular, and NMC was also accepting it later in 2018. So yes, as you mentioned, OET is more of nursing, and it helps you in a way that you are working as a nurse, and you have scenarios where they are related to your field. But with IELTS, it's a different stuff. So uh, in all the 4 modules, everything is based on general English comprehensions, English vocabularies, uh, English audios. There are no medical terminologies there. There's no patient there. So yeah, just
Okay.
like if you remember the schooling, if you remember our schooling back in India, where we used to have English subjects, and do you remember the comprehensions, the essays, and the fill in the blanks and the matching headings? So it's more of similar, but in a complex and more challenging way. So that is the main difference I felt.
Okay. Do you feel that they use only a group of content to use it in the exams, or are they using the similar type of contents, or it will be like differs from each exams? Because in OET we do get the same topics most of the time, but the questions and the way they form the question will be different. But what about IELTS? Will they give a similar content most of the time, or will be like completely different?
Well, with IELTS, uh, of course the content is different. Someday you'll have a comprehension about Shakespeare in reading. The other day there'll be a comprehension about something else. But if we go in detail, uh, we would need more time. Say, for example, in listening, um, in OET listening, isn't it more about the
We do have a conversation between a doctor or a patient or some health professional, so that will be in the listening audio
yes? So
in
in
OET.
yes, so in listening IELTS, there are 40 sets of questions, total of 40 questions, um, out of which you have to attend around, I think it's around 30 to 33, where it is about 7 to 7.5 band. So the questions are more in general. Say, for example, there'll be somebody who's asking about address to a stranger, or there'll be a
Oh,
telephone conversation between anybody. There is an electrician who is asking who is asking with somebody
so
in
it's
the
like everyday, like a daily use of conversation.
yes, and also with listening, there are different varieties. So they'll be giving a map, and they'll be making you play the audio, and they'll be leaving some blank spaces where you have to identify uh, which location and where exactly things are. So that's how you fill the answers, and as you go along, there is an academic lecturer and a student who are speaking, and they give you few of the questions. You have to listen to them and listen carefully, that you also understand what their opinion is, and that opinion is in the options. So out of three options, you choose one. So you say, for example, me and you are speaking about something, okay? Say
So,
about a research paper, and there is a third person who is listening. So he has to listen so carefully that he has to answer what our opinion is. So it is kind of that, and also the final part involves about more about the plans, science. Sometimes it is about photosynthesis. So it's a mix of general English content, quite different
okay,
from OET.
quite challenging actually.
Yeah, I think we would have to do more videos if we talk about reading, speaking, as well as writing. So just to mention a few things, as I said, listening, it has 40 questions, and you target a grade about 30 or so. And in reading as well, it is 40 questions. So there are three passages. With listening, it is half an hour. They give you half an hour with the listening, and they give you 10 minutes to write down the answers. Then you do reading, where it is 60 minutes, and there are three reading passages, and the questions are challenging. So, say for example, they'll ask a question. We did it in school days, where they ask you about either true or false. Now in the IELTS, there's something called not given. So if there is a
Okay.
question, okay,
Given and not given like
not
that.
given. So what we'll do generally is we answer true. Okay, if that is not true, then it is false, obviously. But here is the trick.
Okay.
Sometimes the question they ask, it won't be in the passage at all. Okay.
Hmm.
Now the challenge is the exact answer now here is not given. So so the reason I said, it is a bit challenging more than the general English which we did in the school is questions like this. So reading, we have three passages and 60 minutes is given. So again, as I said, 40 questions. You target around 30, 32 to achieve your required band score of 7 or 7.5. Um, it works that way. Whereas in writing,
Okay.
writing and speaking are different. So on a given day, you do listening, reading, and writing together, which takes time around 3.5 hours. Whereas in speaking, it is done on a different date.
Okay.
Yeah. So with writing, as I've mentioned, listening and reading, I'll also mention about writing. So with writing, there are two tasks. Uh, it differs in academic and general IELTS. IELTS has a couple of different things. One is IELTS academic, which is most preferred in nursing and in medicine for us in the UK. So we'll concentrate more on the academic part. So in writing, there are two parts. There is task one, where they give a graph or a chart to describe. So we have to summarize the events. So there's a data given, a tabular data, so and so. So India has example. India had a high trend of so and so COVID cases in this period. Then India was in the peak during the second wave. So example, kind of this. That's in the task one, and in the task two, it is an essay. It is an essay.
Mm.
So essay is about your opinions, about your about contrast opinions, whether you agree or not. You can explain about a topic. So say for example,
Okay.
students, college students doing part-time jobs, how helpful it is or how useful it is. So would you agree it or not, or would you recommend them to do? So you discuss about the advantages, disadvantages, and you come to a conclusion.
Mm.
Say that I strongly recommend college students do part-time job because I feel it gives them some handful of skills as they go along in the learning period. This is one such example. There are so many kind of it, and
Uh,
yeah, so that's where it stands. If yeah.
yeah, what I feel is it's quite similar with the questions and stuff, but it's differs with the content which we have in the text.
Yes,
So
exactly. Yeah, different
okay,
in the content. Yeah.
okay. So let's move on to the fee structure. So OET is quite costly in Indian money. We need to pay around 15,000 to 25,000 as a training fees like per month. So it differs from the institutes they collect.
Yeah.
And if you go for the exam, it costs for a one set, it costs like 28,000 to 35,000 rupees, Indian rupees. So how much is IELTS cost?
Yes. So if you compare IELTS and OET, most of our nurses out they do know, and anybody watching this video, I know people mention about OET comparatively easy to get through because of its relation to the occupation, say example nursing. But the only big disadvantage with this is IELTS has a the OET has a expensive fee structure, as you mentioned, whereas IELTS is, I would say, it is one third. So it costs around Indian money 14,000, close to 14,000. In UK, it is around 140 pounds. So it is two
Is
times
that
bigger, isn't it?
for the exam?
Yeah, for the exam. The exam fee comes to around 14,000 Indian money. Uh,
What about the training? Like, how do the institutes the average money they charge for the training?
Well, the institute it differs from place to place. I think it is almost similar to what OET training fee structure is. I think
Oh,
so because I've heard my colleagues, my friends say so. It is quite similar to the OET exam in terms of training is concerned. Whereas with the exam fee, which is more important, which is why
yeah.
I hear people telling me that they would go with IELTS, just for main reason. Uh,
Okay. So, is there any updates or anything new came into IELTS in 2021 that you know?
well, IELTS pattern has remained the same. Even the rule structure has remained the same. I would recommend whoever watching this video to get into British Council website uh, or the Cambridge Assessment, English Assessment website to know more in detail about the exam because we have discussed only general ideas of the exam. So I think Uh, there are no fresh updates as far as IELTS are concerned. IELTS is concerned since a long while. Also, I think I just have to talk about the speaking module, which I think we haven't covered it. Just to mention about speaking. So the speaking, as I mentioned, it is done in a separate day where it is one-to-one. So you have an examiner. In India, it is more. They are more Indian examiners. So it is done one-to-one. It takes around 15 to 20 minutes, and there are three parts of speaking. So they go through from familiar
Con-
questions. Sorry.
What sort of content you discuss about with the examiner?
Well, say in general. So example, there are three parts, as I said. So the first part, they ask you more about the general questions. What kind of food do you like? What do you
Okay.
think about your city? What do you think about your um, parks in your area? So more about general questions. Then when they move to the second part of the speaking test, they give you the topic to prepare for a minute. So you take some points and then you speak about that for 2 minutes. That is more to do with your fluency. So it is one way. Say, for example, you give me the questions, I'll be preparing
Only,
for a minute and then I'll answer for 2 minutes.
only the candidate will talk.
Yes,
Is that,
yes.
is that
So,
what you mean?
so yeah, the examiner will just give you a note, what she's expecting from you, and then you speak. And then when you
Okay.
go into the third part, the final part, they are more about expanded conversations. Say,
So that
um,
be a discussion.
will that will be more of, say, example, politics, social issues. So more of expanded answers. I, I from what I've seen, the challenge is in the third part where you have to explain it in detail. Although the first part and the second part is equally challenging, the third part is more of expanded answers, and it becomes a two-way communication as well. So overall, the speaking takes around 15 to 18 minutes. So that's what the speaking is all about, which is
Oh,
done on a separate day, either before this exam or after the listening, writing, or speaking, or either before the actual writing.
no. As it is in a general topics and stuffs. If it comes to listening, reading, even writing is fine. But what about speaking? If there is something which I'm not familiar with the content or topic, what I've got in my examination, is there any possibilities to change it? For example, if I'm getting something like a nucleus or something like solar system, I'm not familiar with this with the content which I've got, which is the topic I've got. Is there any possibilities? Because if I have no idea with the topic which I've got, I can't build up a conversation or a talk in that 2 minutes. So is there any possibilities
Yes,
to
you
or
the
anything?
point you're mentioning is fair enough. But having said, with IELTS speaking, they don't go into technical topics. Say, for example, as you mentioned, the solar system. So they don't go deep into technical topics, but the topics are more into the environmental issues. Say, for example, the topics can be about food. The topics can be about, say example, they'll be asking you to describe a person who you admire.
Okay, so
So
it'll be like
yes,
depend on us or which we can
yes.
speak
Some of
about.
the
Is it?
common questions asked is in the first speaking part is like about your food. What kind of food do you prefer? What kind of festivals are there in your country? And then um, what do you think about shopping? What is your ideal shopping play? So these are the questions which are asked. And then in the expanded questions, they expand the second topic into in more detailed conversation. Say, for example, if they're speaking with you about shopping in the part two. In the part three, they'll be going more detail on the same topic. Say, for
Same topic.
example, yes, if you have mentioned to them about your shopping, in the third part, they'll be asking you questions like, in your country, uh, what kind of shopping do people prefer?
Okay.
What do you think shopping has changed from what it was in olden days? So it is like a structure where they start with the basic questions and go into slowly, they take you into the more detailed way. So all these things are measured, each of the modules, if you say listening, reading, writing, and speaking. um, as I said, I would recommend people to get into the website, British Council website, to know more about how the marks are assessed in the exam. Say example, for the speaking, they look at your fluency, they look at your pronunciation, they look at your vocabulary, so they look at your resources. So all these are examples on what they see in you when they assess you in the speaking. And there are differences in writing, listening, um, and as well as in reading. So they are the areas which they have it to assess the candidates.
Okay. So once we start like getting into it, I feel we can get it, isn't it?
Yeah, with practice, it becomes more easy. I had challenges in the beginning as well. So later I understood that practice makes you perfect. Like in all the things with IELTS,
Mm,
especially people find the reading quite challenging. Some people find speaking quite challenging. So each of the modules practice. For nurses watching this video, I know we have discussed few things about the IELTS, but for nurses watching this video, if you are confident enough to take IELTS, you can go for it. It is not that if you are a nurse, you only have to go for the OET, but if you are confident enough, if you believe in yourself and put the effort in the sense you learn the techniques, you make your base strong, you practice the papers, join a course, work hard, you'll get there. The advantages are so many with IELTS. So I'm not recommending IELTS, but I'm just telling our people.
I've done OET. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, so
Anyway, each has its own benefits and demerits as well.
yes,
Uh, but yeah, we do have two exams in the front of the in the hand. So either we can choose OET or IELTS. So it depends on the
yeah,
who is going to pick. So I think we have talked much about IELTS. Is there anything
hopefully.
interesting with IELTS that you need to say?
I would say I would like to just mention about a few of the things which you can do. I know our friends back home or whoever taking IELTS anywhere in the world, we we join a we join a course, we go to an institute, we practice, we learn the techniques, but the more important thing is to see where you are uh, in terms of your base. So depends
Yeah, we need
upon
to
your base.
self-evaluate ourselves.
Self
Like,
evaluate yourself, exactly. So that base, knowing your base and work starting from there is very
yeah,
important. Say
fine.
listening, I've heard, I've been taught by my teachers listening. They, I've had, because with listening, the accent is, as you know, the UK. It is from the accents are quite different. There will be UK accent, there will be Irish ones, there will be New Zealand, there'll be accents from Australia. So there are different accents. So people who tell me, if you want to do well in the listening, go watch some English programs online. It's true actually. So that when you listen, you kind of get into the groove of the accents. Yeah.
Yeah.
So say example with listening, listening to the uh, English programs. With speaking, you listen to any news channels and you see how they are, understanding, uh, s- sorry, understanding the question and answering accordingly. How you start and how you finish. With writing, you read a newspaper, you understand how any paragraph is formed. If you look at a paragraph in a newspaper, there'll be a starting point, there'll be a middle point, there'll be an ending point. How an essay can be paraphrased can be learned from there. Of course, the techniques in the IELTS exams is as important as you know. And with reading practice, how do you skim it? I know I've watched one of your videos with the reading one where you've mentioned
Yes.
about skimming and yeah, same.
Oh,
The
yes.
techniques are quite similar. So all these techniques, get your techniques right, join a course, understand your base, work on it, and practice, practice, and practice. You'll be right up there. That's all I did. I struggled. I'm not an expert sitting right here discussing.
But it took me like 1 month just to know what is OET. So please don't judge yourself like within a few days of your joining the course.
Yeah,
Please take some time to work on it. So get the techniques, how it's gonna work. Just work on it
yeah,
and go for it. Please don't quit in between by finding it hard or something like that. You would definitely get it one day.
yeah.
So I think
Everybody goes
seeing that
through that, isn't it, Priya? Everybody goes through that. Don't you think? Everybody goes through that where they think that we think that we are not capable of clearing this exam, but that development happens without your knowledge. That is where it lies. When you practice, 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 day one you practice, day 10 you practice, there is a development which you are not aware of until someday you sit for an exam and you understand that there is a strong development and that is what has made you achieve your band score in IELTS.
all right. So I think that's it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
whatever.
for joining.
No problem, no problem. It's pleasure speaking with you.
Okay. Okay, friends. I think we have covered much about IELTS. I would like to give you some links in my description so that you can just go and have a look and know more about IELTS, about the question patterns and stuff. Um, you would say about to subscribe my channel.
Of
Just go
course,
on.
please, whoever watching this video, close your eyes, subscribe to Priya in UK, and she's bringing some really good content, especially for our friends
Oh, thank you.
watching back home in in Chennai, Kerala, wherever, North India, anywhere watching this. So please like and comment and subscribe to Priya in UK, and we'll see and if we can get more content later on, hopefully.
So to be, in fact, I'll try to bring much more informative videos. So stay tuned. I'll see you in my next video with some of my friends. So many have asked me about the new updates and new OET things. So I'll meet you up in my next video with my friends. So see you all. Bye.
Bye, take care, and
All right,
have a good
Waseem. Thank
evening.
you so much.
See you. Bye.